questions.
Questions. There's a group that's going to specifically be focused on these facilities, and we're going to over this next year see exactly how much person power it takes, and we're going to make sure that we right size that group to make sure we can get to these a couple of times a year. Well, there are overall 6,000, and we expect to have gotten to all of them by the middle of next year. How many have been inspected right now? I don't know the answer to that, roughly. How many have been inspected right now?
Well, we've been inspected throughout the year. In terms of grading, we just started that in January, and we've probably got about 20.
Yeah, so about 20 so far. We just started it. You're at the beginning of this new era, but we've been inspecting them for many years. So if you look on the back, you'll see an inspection certificate. So we've been inspecting them. And we've been inspecting them both in the commissary and out in the field, but these are focused out in the field. Remember, these are unannounced inspections. You don't know we're coming. We want them to be concerned, every food operator to be concerned about this every minute to make sure that, because they never know when we're going to be there. And consumer protection is our number one job.
Just a quick question. I've been to football games at the Coliseum and come out afterwards, and I've got all these little carts, hot dogs wrapped in bacon, look like mom and pop operations. How do you crack down on that? I never see inspectors go after it.
Well, we've had a lot of sweeps. We've, in fact, taken a lot of those off. If you look, we have these huge storage places with a lot of those. It's very hard to do because the barriers to entry are small, but we are working in all supervisorial districts to try and minimize those. We're never going to eliminate them, but we really want to get people to focus. And I think having this grading system will help make very stark contrast. Places that have the grades and places that don't, you're going to say, what's wrong with this? It's going to give you pause.
It's almost if I can just say, it's almost a self-enforcing program, because this is it's a very competitive business. So you've got to keep up with your competition. If your competition is playing by the rules, the average person would rather eat at a place where they know the food has been inspected and is safe than take a chance. That's been our experience with the restaurant inspection program, and that's going to be exactly the way it is here. So the people will vote with their feet. They'll go to a cart, if it's at the Coliseum or anywhere else, they'll go to a cart that has a grade rather than take their chances on one that doesn't have a grade, because they'll know that something's up.
Well, the C grade is the numbers are between 70 and 79. That means that they've had a number of deficiencies. If the deficiencies were so serious as to imperil health right away, we would close them. But in many cases, we will simply confiscate that food. We'll make sure that their equipment is in working order, that they understand what they have to do, and they can go back to business. But many people aren't going to go to C's. And in fact, the percentage of C's and below C's has dropped about 95% from what it was when we started with the fixed site restaurants. So C's don't fare very well in most places.
Could you be a little more specific? If I see a C, what does that mean? That means that what you found.
Well, there's many different ways to get to those numbers. So we have different levels of deficiencies, that are different levels of deductions. Everybody starts with a perfect score, with 100. And then you see reductions based on, let's say you're keeping food at less than 140 degrees and you're storing it wrong, or you have eggs that are not being stored in a refrigerated. You get demerits for each of those, and they're different levels, and those add up. And then you subtract those from 100, and that determines your grade. So some C's had a significant number of serious problems, but again, if they were problems that would imperil health right away, they would be off the streets.
Dr. Finley, you were talking about these being unannounced visits. How are you tracking construction? How are you finding it?
We're requiring, one of the innovations is we're requiring that they give us route information. And they can do it in a number of ways. They can come give it to us by hand, they can fax it, they can email it, they can do anything they want, but we have to know where they are. And we're looking into some other ways to do that. Of course, there's some trucks that you can find on Twitter very easily where they're going to be. Well, we're going to follow those on Twitter, but not all trucks are on Twitter. The small vendors are going to be that are inspected are going to also be graded. They're the second group, so there's about 3,000 of those that kind of look more like this or like the one over there. Those are first, and then the second 3,000 are going to be graded, and those will all be finished by sometime in the middle of June of 2012.
Is there an estimated cost for all of this? Are you hiring new staff?
We're not hiring new staff at this point, but we're going to be looking and see what the staffing requirements are. We may have to change those. This is a fee-based program, and the fees are quite variable depending upon the nature of the truck and what they're preparing and the like.
We haven't raised the fees on anybody.
Sorry?
We haven't raised the fees on anybody.
We haven't raised the fees because we want to see exactly how much person power this takes, and then we'll talk to the Board of Supervisors, and we'll have our county auditor controller look at the fees and make sure that what we're doing is fair, because all we do is recover our fees.
For the time being, the existing fees are expected to absorb the costs of the grading portion of this program. The inspections, as Dr. Fielding said, the inspections are already being done. All that's being added to this is the assignment of a grade, and we hope that it won't require any additional fee increase for the restaurant, for the food trucks, and that it can all be absorbed in the existing fees they pay.
But we'll see, and we'll come back to the board and see if we think there has to be an increase, we will present that to the board.
Question. In regards to the grading, they obviously have some top grading. You talked about B and C. If a specific food establishment has a lesser grade B and C, how long before they can get, let's say, an A? What's involved with that process? How long does it take?
There's this thing called owner-initiated inspections. We allow once in a 12-month period that they can ask us and pay a fee for being re-inspected. And if we do that, we re-inspect them twice, and then they have to stay with that grade. So they can't keep asking. But they can do that one time in a year, and that in some cases that's going to lead to an improved grade. In some cases it won't.
Thank you. One other question on their grade system. Is there going to be more information for, let's say, those big consumers or other food establishments? Where can they find information on the grading system and how it's being graded?
You look on our website, and we give you all this information, and it gives you all the forms that we use. And I'm glad you raised that question, because if you want to ask either of these food trucks that are around here, what was your grade based on? You know, how many demerits in essence did you have? They have to show you the sheet, and the sheet will detail exactly what was found to be wrong and how many points that was worth. And you can go into any restaurant, and you're going to be able to go into any mobile van, any mobile food truck, and ask for the same, and they have to provide it to you.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.